Werewolves are therianthropes who transform into wolves or half-wolves. As other such creatures, they are hardly hurt by steel but very vulnerable to silver. There are two most common ways to acquire lycanthropy. The first one through a curse, and the second is to simply have a werewolf parent. Being bitten by another werewolf, while popular in folk tales, gives only a very small chance of becoming one in reality, though it is still recommended to get magical treatment. Those who are born as werewolves are able to fully control their shapeshifting abilities, while those cursed or bitten change into their werewolf form only during a full moon. Those who became werewolves during their lives, however, are the only ones who can be cured. The wolfsbane is said to mitigate the illness symptoms. Therianthropy diseases, including lycanthropy, appeared in the world after the conjunction of the spheres, affecting nonhuman and early human populations alike. According to Herbolth, lands in the Toina Valley, also called the Dogbane, were plagued by werewolves before the Nordling colonization. Werewolves have a legendary sense of smell, exceptional even amongst real wolves. Lycanthropes are usually on good terms with other canines and, as one would expect, hate haircuts. Welcome everybody. We are Mind Simulation, Artificial General Intelligence Laboratory. Created this video specially for you and completely dubbed it with our project called CYBERVOICE, cutting-edge speech synthesis technology. Check out video description if you are interested to know more, and do not forget to support us on Patreon. Baron Wolfstein buried his face in his hands. His heart was throbbing. Suddenly the scent of his wife's blood and the blood of his children intensified. The Baron's body swelled as his muscles grew. His noble attire fell in tatters on the marble floor. My beloved, you are so hairy. You are a werewolf. Bianca went pale. What about our love? In reply, she heard a terrifying roar. At first, lycanthropes, including werewolves, were supposed to be ordinary, frequently encountered opponents in the game. When we realized that the curse of lycanthropy could be the basis for a fascinating story, in the spirit of Sapkowski's tales, we decided to make the werewolf an unusual creature. We were inspired by early drawings that depicted a lycanthrope with a large gut. We immediately linked the creature to Vincent Mies, the tough commander of the city guard, a middle-aged man with a well-developed beer muscle. New motifs were added to the story until it became a tale of a righteous law enforcer who uses the lycanthropy to fight crime more effectively. The werewolf must ultimately choose between being a masked and fury avenger or devoting himself to true love. Gerald can help him resolve this dilemma while proving that in addition to killing monsters, witchers are also good at lifting curses. Neither animal nor man, the werewolf takes the worst from both species, the bloodlust and primal nature of a wolf, and the ruthlessness and cruelty of a human. One becomes a werewolf as a result of a curse thrown by a witch. The change itself is uncontrollable and unwilling. A man who transforms back to his human form can't usually remember the atrocious acts committed as a werewolf. Werewolves are creatures of the night, and they are especially active during the full moon. They usually go hunting alone, as there rarely is an opponent that can match their strength, agility, and fast health regeneration. If a werewolf actually encounters an enemy that has equivalent strength and can fight a fair fight, the creature can call for wolven reinforcements that will come to its aid. A good way of dealing with werewolves is a sword covered with all to combat cursed creatures, or a silver bomb that will temporarily block the creature's regenerative power. Werewolves are creatures with both men and wolves inside them. When in beastly form, they take the worst traits of each. The wolf strove to kill and hunger for raw flesh, and the man's cruel and calculating intelligence. A werewolf's condition comes about through a curse, and the transformations happen outside his conscious control. When he reverts to human form, he has no memory of his deeds, otherwise he would surely go mad and take his own life. Werewolves are active at night, particularly when the moon is full. Though they hunt alone, when threatened they will summon wolves to aid them. Werewolves rarely feel the need to flee, for few adversaries put up much of a fight against them. They strike as swiftly as lightning with claws sharp as razors and regenerate, and the damage received in mere moments. When fighting werewolves, a witcher should wield a blade covered in all harmful to the cursed and have a large supply of Devil's puffballs Honda. A werewolf's curse can at times be lifted, yet there is no universal, surefire method for doing this. A witcher seeking to undertake such a task must there equip himself with a great deal of patience and sturdy armor. Combat tactics. These breeds of cursed creatures are quite fast and very lethal. They can jump great distances and at such high speeds that defending yourself against one can be challenging at best. Utilizing the sign Erden can be a useful way to slow them down, making close-quarter combat safer. Igne and Uxa can also be used to stop the werewolf on its tracks momentarily, leaving enough windows for one or to have it attacks. Werewolves have an intriguingly powerful health regeneration ability, even more potent than ghouls. Players who are unable to give enough damage output within short time will have to be prepared for an exhausting fight, if not at all impossible, as long as the werewolf can regenerate health faster than he takes damage. It can outlast Geralt no matter how good he is in defense and evasive tactic. Fire, bleeding and poison effects can be used to slow their regeneration down. Although inflicting these statuses upon the werewolf are quite a challenge in itself, considering their speed. Alfhedan is a stronger type of werewolf which can be found around Skalage. Alfhedan are a breed of werewolf found mainly in Skalage. The harsh and barren conditions of the Isles might explain why they primarily hunt men and are stronger than their continental brethren. Older and particularly dangerous Alfhedan are called Werewolves. Only a few daring warriors in Skalage history have managed to defeat an Alfhedan, and each of them is commemorated in ballads as a hero to this day. Like werewolves, Alfhedan and Werewolves are active at night, particularly when the moon is at its fullest. Fast, strong, and amazingly resilient, these creatures kill with disturbing ease. Silver blades should be brought against them, as should Devil's puffball. Take note that when near death the Alfhedan becomes particularly dangerous and will attack with doubled fury, while calling on wolves to come to its rescue. Combat tactics. These breeds of cursed ones are some of the fastest and most lethal. They can leap great distances at such speeds that it can be a challenge defending against them. Erden is of great use in avoiding these attacks. Counterattacks against a werewolf or Alfhedan can be difficult to time. It is best to use footwork and evade them, using dodges and rolls, when possible, using them. Setting these foes alight can force cursed ones to stay still long enough to score critical strikes on their flanks. Fire, bleeding, and poison effects can be used to slow the regeneration of these creatures. Avoid fighting werewolves in tight spaces if at all possible, since the speed of their assault can quickly overwhelm even high-skilled witchers. Werewolves have incredible reach, and you want to have space to work with while fighting them. Explosive bolts for a crossbow can be useful at dealing fire damage, should the werewolf be caught at range. Watch for the dual overhead claw sweep. It cannot be parried and causes grievous wounds and bleeding. Near death, Alfhedan become extremely dangerous, striking with increased strength. They can even call upon a pack of wolves for assistance. You can find more on the topic on our channel in the corresponding playlist. The link is of course in the description. If you have any wishes or questions, leave them in the comments or on our Discord channel, where you will find new content and audio versions of these videos. We remind you that the speech in the video is completely synthesized by the CYBERVOICE project, which is designed to act as full-fledged vocal cords where needed, unite voice authors and content creators, and also provide opportunities for additional creativity and monetization in the digital age. The Mind Simulation team thanks you.